Alright, so I want to talk about the recent controversy surrounding Kyle Rittenhouse and who he is going to be voting for this November. So if you're not familiar with who Kyle Rittenhouse is, he was a resident of Kenosha, Wisconsin, who was protecting a car dealership during the 2020 Black Lives Matter riots. He ended up being in altercations with several of the rioters there, and he shot 3 of them. One of them, the man was trying to bash his skull in with a skateboard. That was caught on camera when that man was shot. Additionally, another man at one point tried to attack him and reach for his gun, and he shot that man as well. And the third man had pulled a gun on Kyle and was walking towards him with that gun and was shot in the arm. So the first 2 men died of their injuries, and the third man was only injured. And so this was a very dramatic and widely publicized trial. The media made up incredibly dramatic lies about him, trying to make Kyle out as a racist and accusing him of murder. But ultimately, the verdict came back not guilty, so Kyle was able to walk free. And since then, he has been a Second Amendment advocate. He's been somewhat relevant in right-wing circles in politics. And recently, he uploaded a video to Twitter saying, in effect, that he was unimpressed by President Donald Trump's record on the Second Amendment, and that because of that, he would be writing in Ron Paul's name in this election. Now, as a result of this, you might say MAGA, a lot of Trump supporters on Twitter ended up piling on Kyle, saying that he was being hypocritical since Trump had supported him when his trial was going on, and now he was not supporting Trump. Some people even went so far as to say that they wished that the verdict had come back guilty in his trial. I too criticized Kyle. I thought that where Trump had been supportive of him during his trial, that as a result of that, he ought to support Trump now. And also, I pointed out that if Kyle were to write in Ron Paul's name, that would be one less vote for Trump, which would only help Kamala Harris, who is in favor of gun confiscation. But after a few hours, Kyle released a statement saying that he had been speaking with members of the Trump campaign, and that he had changed his mind and that he would be 100% behind Donald Trump this November. I think it's good that he ultimately decided to support Trump, but it was unfortunate kind of the way it came about. A lot of people were being very unfair and cruel to him on Twitter, if I'm being honest, and I probably went at him a little harder than I should have. I think it's totally fair to criticize someone when they publicly state who they're going to vote for. I think it's perfectly valid to give your reasons why you think they're wrong if you do. But there were definitely a lot of people going overboard. So I just hope that Kyle sincerely wants to vote for President Trump and thinks that he is a better option over Kamala Harris. Of course, Trump isn't perfect. I don't plan to vote for him because he's perfect. I plan to vote for him because he's better than the alternative. And you can think that that's a cynical way to think of politics, but that's the current state of politics, and honestly has been for several years. So I'm glad that in the end the situation was resolved and that Kyle is back on the Trump train, but it is unfortunate the way it came about.